New words and examples.
Acknowledge. If you acknowledge something, you accept that it is true or that it exists.
The teacher acknowledged that the young student was hungry.
Ambassador. An ambassador is a government worker who works in another country.
The ambassador from Korea was in charge of the conference.
Blonde. If someone is a blonde, they have light-colored hair.
My cousin is different from me. She is a blonde with blue eyes.
Conquer. To conquer a country means to attack and take control of it.
The soldiers were trying to conquer the world.
Drag. To drag something means to pull it across the ground.
The dog was dragging his owner down the street.
Exaggerate. To exaggerate is to say that something is bigger or better than it really is.
Jimmy wasn't exaggerating about the seriousness of his injury.
Heritage. Heritage is the collection of features of a society, such as language and religion.
Teepees are part of the heritage of the American Indians of the Plains.
Insult. To insult someone is to say things that will hurt their feelings.
The girls insulted each other all afternoon.
Meanwhile. Meanwhile means until something happens or while something is happening.
He wants to be a doctor in the future, but meanwhile he works a regular job.
Necklace. A necklace is a piece of jewelry that people wear around their necks.
Joyce received a lovely pearl necklace for her wedding anniversary.
Noble. A noble is a rich and powerful person.
The queen invited a noble from a nearby country to dinner.
Precious. When something is precious, it is valuable and important.
In a desert, water can be more precious than money.
Prejudice. A prejudice is an unfair opinion about someone before you get to know them.
The company's rules against gender prejudice must be enforced.
Rumor. A rumor is something people talk about even though it may not be true.
Kevin was spreading rumors about Marcia to everyone.
Sin. A sin is something that is wrong for religious reasons.
Taking something that doesn't belong to you is a sin.
Spectacle. A spectacle is an amazing sight.
Niagara Falls is quite a spectacle.
Stack. A stack is a pile of different things.
There was a stack of paperwork on his desk to complete.
Suspicious. If someone is suspicious of someone else, they do not trust that person.
Dad was suspicious of the caller on the line.
Tin. Tin is a cheap white metal.
Soup is a common food that is often sold in tin cans.
Vase. A vase is an attractive container where people keep flowers.
The vase was filled with such lovely flowers.
Pizarro and the Inca gold. According to rumors, there's lots of precious gold hidden in the jungles of Peru. It got there when the Spanish conquered parts of South America. The Spanish noble, Francisco Pizarro, arrived in Peru in the 1500s. He found a group of people called the Incas. The Incas believed that their leader, Atahualpa, was both a king and a god. But Pizarro didn't agree. "It is a sin for a man to think he is God," he said to Atahualpa. Atahualpa thought Pizarro was insulting his heritage. He thought the blonde Spanish men held prejudices against the Incas. But Atahualpa was a kind man and didn't want to fight the Spaniards. He said, "If I give you a room full of gold, will you leave my country in peace?" Pizarro was suspicious. He thought Atahualpa was exaggerating. But a few days later, Pizarro returned to the Inca palace with his ambassadors. He saw a room filled with stacks of gold. There were golden necklaces, cups, plates, and vases. It was a great spectacle. He acknowledged that Atahualpa had told the truth. But after seeing the gold, he wanted all of Peru's gold, so he didn't leave the country. The Spanish soldiers stayed in Peru and grabbed all the gold they could find. But the Inca people tricked the Spaniards. They mixed the gold with tin so that it was poor quality. They gave this gold to the Spaniards. Meanwhile, they hid the good gold. They stuffed it into sacks and dragged it deep into the jungle. The Spanish conquerors never found the gold. People think it is still there today.
New words and examples.
Ache. If something aches, it hurts.
Mindy's head ached because she bumped it against the wall.
Arctic. If something is Arctic, it is from far north near the North Pole.
It is cold when the Arctic winds blow.
Canal. A canal is a path for water to travel through.
The city of Venice, Italy has many canals.
Chemist. A chemist is a scientist who works with chemicals.
My mother is a successful chemist who helps invent new products.
Chill. A chill is a feeling of cold.
The chill from the cold wind made Bill shiver.
Congress. Congress is a group of leaders in a government.
Congress makes laws for people to follow.
Dairy. If something is dairy, it is made from milk.
Things like milk and cheese are dairy foods.
Descend. To descend is to go downward.
I descended the stairs to get out of the building.
Grocer. A grocer is a person who sells food.
Our grocer, Mr. Smith, is a very kind man.
Hesitate. To hesitate is to wait for a short time before doing something.
He hesitated for a moment before he decided which choice to make.
Institution. An institution is an organization that works to help a city or group of people.
Banks are vital institutions that businesses and people use every day.
Jog. To jog is to run slowly.
He jogs every day so he can be healthier.
Merchant. A merchant is a person who sells things.
The merchant was selling used cars.
Poke. To poke something is to push it with your finger.
I poked my finger on a thumbtack.
Postpone. To postpone something is to make it happen later than planned.
They postponed the meeting until Elena arrived.
Splash. When a liquid splashes, it bursts and hits something.
Some green paint splashed upon the floor.
Stubborn. If people are stubborn, they don't change their minds easily.
Both of my parents are stubborn. They never give in to each other.
Suburb. A suburb is a small part of a large city.
I grew up in the suburbs only a few minutes outside of the city.
Tide. The tide is the level of the water in the sea.
The tide continued to crawl upon the beach little by little.
Tragedy. A tragedy is a very sad event.
It was a tragedy when his house was struck by lightning and burned. The boy who saved the town. Marcus lived in a small suburb near the sea. He was a stubborn boy, and he only cared about himself. His father worked as a chemist for an institution and wanted Marcus to get a job there. Instead, the boy delivered milk. Each morning he took dairy products to the grocers. One day, Marcus was jogging down the street with a gallon of milk to give to a merchant. He didn't want to be late. He ran down a path beside a large canal. A wall there kept water from coming into the town during high tide. But Marcus saw a small hole in the wall. Marcus knew that if the wall broke, it would be a tragedy for the town. At first, he hesitated. He had to choose between helping himself and helping the town. There was only one way to save the town. It seemed crazy to him, but it was the only thing he could do. He poked his finger into the hole. This didn't fix the problem forever, but it did postpone the tragedy. His finger ached. He felt the chill of the Arctic water as it splashed him. There was no one else around. He knew he had to wait until the tide descended. It was very difficult, but Marcus stayed there and saved the town. Once the tide had descended, Marcus told everyone what happened. A group of people went to the wall. They saw the hole and fixed it. Everyone was very happy with Marcus. The local Congress even gave him a gift for saving the town. He was a hero.
New words and examples.
Aroma. An aroma is a scent or smell.
I love the aroma of coffee in the morning.
Beverage. A beverage is a drink.
The waiter brought our beverages first, then he brought our food.
Cluster. A cluster of things is a small group of them placed close together.
She held a large cluster of grapes in her hand.
Combine. To combine is to join together to make a single thing or group.
Mina combined peanut butter and jelly to make a sandwich.
Condensed. When a liquid is condensed, it is made thicker.
One way to make a dessert thick and sweet is to use condensed milk.
Contemporary. When something is contemporary, it is related to the present time.
Contemporary scientists have learned quite a bit about DNA.
Cultivate. To cultivate plants is to care for them and help them grow.
A research company is cultivating new kinds of rice to aid poor countries.
Divine. When something is divine, it is related to gods.
Legends say that music was given to men as a divine gift from the gods.
Humid. When it is humid, there is a lot of water in the air.
It is very humid inside of a sauna.
Odor. An odor is a very distinct smell.
He knew there was a leak when he noticed the strong odor of natural gas.
Palate. The palate is the top part of the mouth.
You can touch your palate with your tongue.
Paradise. Paradise is the place or condition of happiness where things are perfect.
My vacation in Hawaii was like being in paradise.
Plantation. A plantation is a big farm that only grows certain kinds of crops.
In the 1800s, there were many cotton plantations in the southern U.S.
Rapid. When something is rapid, it moves or changes very quickly.
His mother was surprised by her son's rapid growth.
Rate. A rate is the speed at which something happens.
Grass tends to grow at a very slow rate.
Soothing. When something is soothing, it makes you calm or relaxed.
The soothing music helped the baby fall asleep.
Subtle. When something is subtle, it is not easy to see or notice.
The handsome man has a subtle smile.
Texture. Texture is the quality of something that can be known by its touch.
The texture of her skin was very soft and smooth.
Toxic. When something is toxic, it is poisonous. Toxic things are very dangerous.
Please check the label to see if the product is toxic.
Vary. To vary means to be different from another thing in size or amount.
The heights of the people in my class vary by a large amount.
The history of chocolate. Many people believe that chocolate originally came from Europe. However, chocolate, called the food of the gods, was first made in the Americas. The first chocolate was very different from contemporary chocolate. Wild chocolate trees can grow easily in the humid Amazon rainforest. Clusters of flowers growing on these trees turn to seeds. About 20 to 60 cacao beans can be found in the seeds. Cacao beans are the ingredient needed to create sweet, soothing, and delicious chocolate treats. The Mayan and Aztec cultures both thought that chocolate trees were brought from paradise by gods. The Mayans and Aztecs used the beans from this divine tree to create a special beverage with a very pleasant odor. Surprisingly, the Aztecs believed that it would be toxic to women and children. In the 1500s, the Spanish explorer Cortés met the Aztecs. Cortés became quite interested in the plantations where the Aztecs cultivated chocolate trees. When he returned to Europe, he took cacao beans with him. He introduced the people of Spain to the Aztecs' chocolate beverage. Over the next 100 years or so, kings, queens, and members of the upper class enjoyed drinking chocolate. They enjoyed it even more once they learned to add sugar to the beverage. Soon, chocolate had spread all across Europe. New machines allowed chocolate makers to perfect their products and produce them at a very rapid rate. Preparing the beans in special ways brought out the aroma of chocolate. The beans were combined with condensed milk to give the chocolate a smooth texture. Today, contemporary chocolates with subtle flavors fill the shelves of expensive chocolate shops. The different types of chocolate available today vary widely. True chocolate lovers can tell which is best, though. They will tell you that the flavor of high-quality chocolate stays on the palate long after you finish it.
New words and examples.
Appliance. An appliance is a piece of equipment used for jobs in the home.
Many homes have appliances like ovens, toasters, and refrigerators.
Basin. A basin is a large bowl for washing things. A sink is sometimes called a basin.
She filled the basin with water and washed her face.
Broom. A broom is a brush with a long handle used for cleaning floors.
My father usually uses a broom to sweep away dust in the basement.
Caterpillar. A caterpillar is a small insect that looks like a worm and eats plants.
After eating a lot of leaves, caterpillars change into butterflies.
Cupboard. A cupboard is a piece of furniture that is used to store food or household items.
We put all of our dishes and food in the cupboards.
Delicate. If something or someone is delicate, they are easy to break or harm.
You should hold the baby carefully because she's very delicate.
Emerge. To emerge from something means to come out of it.
The hand suddenly emerged from the grave.
Handicap. A handicap is a condition that limits someone's mental or physical abilities.
Joe has a slight handicap, so he uses a walker to get around.
Hook. A hook is a sharp, curved piece of metal used for catching or holding things.
The fish went after the sharp hook.
Hop. To hop means to jump a short distance.
The kangaroo quickly hopped away from danger.
Laundry. Laundry is clothes that have been or need to be washed.
He folded the clean laundry and put the dirty laundry in a basket.
Pursue. To pursue someone or something is to chase or follow them.
The mother pursued her young child down the hill.
Reluctant. If someone is reluctant, they do not want to do something.
She was reluctant to eat the meager breakfast.
Sleeve. Sleeves are the part of a shirt where your arms go.
Ryan bought a new shirt with long sleeves to keep his arms warm.
Spine. The spine is the bone that runs up and down the middle of the back.
Our spine helps us to stand up nice and straight.
Stain. A stain is a dirty mark that is difficult to clean.
He had a red stain on the collar of his shirt.
Strip. A strip is a long, narrow piece of material or land.
He had long strips of film that held images of his trip abroad.
Swear. To swear means to promise to do something.
I will put my hand on the Bible and swear to do my best for the country.
Swing. To swing something means to move it back and forth or from side to side.
He can swing a golf club very powerfully.
Utilize. To utilize something means to use it for a specific purpose.
They utilized a pair of scissors to cut the ribbon. The kitten and the caterpillar. Katie the kitten liked to play. One day, Corey the caterpillar emerged from a hole in the wall while Katie was playing in the living room.
Hey!
Katie yelled.
Do you want to play with me?
Corey was reluctant. He said,
I'd rather not play with you. I have several handicaps. My body is very delicate. Your claws are as sharp as hooks. You might cut me. Plus, I have no bones, not even a spine. You could easily hurt me. I swear that I won't hurt you,
Katie said.
No, I don't want to,
he said again. He hopped from the wall, but Katie pursued him. Corey ran into the kitchen and into the cupboard, but Katie chased closely behind. Katie knocked appliances to the floor. Plates fell into the sink and broke in the basin. Then he ran into a bedroom. Some laundry was on the floor. Corey hid under a shirt, but Katie saw him. She jumped on the shirt. Her paws left stains on the cloth, and her claws ripped the sleeves into strips. However, Corey escaped. He utilized a small crack in the floor to hide, but Katie saw him.
"Now you are trapped,"
said Katie. Corey tried to avoid Katie's claws. He moved his body as far into the hole as possible. He didn't know how he'd get out of the hole. Just then, Katie's owner came home. She saw that the house was a mess. She took a broom and swung it at Katie. She chased Katie out of the house. Corey was safe, and Katie was left outside because she didn't listen to the wishes of others.
New words and examples.
Bomb. A bomb is an object that explodes and destroys large areas.
The bomb will destroy anything that is near.
Certificate. A certificate is a document that says that something is true or happened.
I was given a certificate after completing the computer course.
Circumstance. A circumstance is an event that makes a situation what it is.
There were many circumstances behind their success, like hard work.
Coffin. A coffin is a box used to bury dead people.
When a person passes away, they are usually buried inside of a coffin.
Cope. To cope with a difficult or stressful situation means to deal with it.
He copes with work stress by exercising 3 or 4 times a week.
Criticism. Criticism is the act of saying that you don't like or approve of something.
She had a lot of criticism about their new plan.
Devastate. To devastate something means to completely destroy it.
The entire wall was devastated.
Frown. To frown is to make an unhappy look with your face.
Melissa frowned when she found out that the party had been canceled.
Gaze. To gaze at something means to look at it for a long time.
We used a telescope to gaze at the stars for over an hour.
Glance. To glance at something means to look at it quickly.
She glanced behind her to see if he was looking at her.
Grief. Grief is the feeling of deep sadness, usually when a person dies.
The grief caused by losing her parents was very difficult for her.
Groom. A groom is a man who is going to be married.
The groom looked happy as he walked with his new wife.
License. A license is an official document that gives one permission to do something.
In the United States, you need a driver's license to drive legally.
Microscope. A microscope is a device that makes small objects look bigger.
Germs cannot be seen without a microscope.
Nuclear. When something is nuclear, it relates to the division or joining of atoms.
Nuclear power plants provide inexpensive energy to cities.
Portray. To portray something means to describe it or show it in a picture.
Her picture portrayed the house she grew up in when she was little.
Rotate. To rotate something means to turn it around in a circle.
An airplane's propellers rotate quickly to help it fly.
Souvenir. A souvenir is something you buy to remind you of a place or event.
I bought a Russian doll as a souvenir from my trip to Moscow.
Submarine. A submarine is a boat that can go underwater for long periods of time.
The submarine dove under the sea so the enemy couldn't see it.
Trace. To trace something means to follow over it with the eyes or a finger.
He traced over the graph with his finger.
An interesting life. A man looked through some boxes with his grandson. They were filled with old photographs and objects that portrayed important events from the grandfather's life. He wished to share the circumstances behind each event with his grandson. The grandson, however, thought his grandfather's stories were boring. The grandfather coped with this. He ignored his grandson's criticism. He took a photo from the box. "That's the submarine I was on during the war," he explained. The grandson gazed at it. The grandfather glanced at the next picture and frowned. It showed a row of coffins. His grandson noticed the grief in his grandfather's face. "What is it?" the boy inquired. "This was after a nuclear bomb was dropped," the grandfather answered. "It devastated a city." Next, the grandfather pulled a toy microscope from the box and rotated it in his hand. "Where did you get that?" the grandson asked. "This is a souvenir I bought at the Science Museum," the grandfather said. Now the boy was really interested. He started to understand that his grandfather was telling him a larger story. It was the story of his grandfather's life. He got another photo. It showed a young bride and groom. They were very happy. A certificate was attached to the photo. The boy couldn't read it, but he traced his finger over paper. "What's this from, Granddad?" he asked. "That's my marriage license from the day I married your grandmother," the grandfather said. "Wow," said the boy. "Granddad, now I know all about your life."
New words and examples.
Alter. To alter something means to make a small change to it.
I altered the color of my nails to match my hair.
Aside. If someone stands aside, they are on or to one side.
The man stood aside and opened the door for me.
Autumn. Autumn is the season of the year between summer and winter.
I love when the leaves fall in autumn because I can play in them.
Blend. To blend is to mix two or more things together so that they become one thing.
My wife blended together all of the ingredients to make a delicious stew.
Collapse. To collapse is to fall down suddenly.
The tree collapsed right in front of our house.
Crush. To crush something is to press it together so its shape is destroyed.
Selena's new car was crushed when something fell on top of it.
Curve. To curve is to move in a line that bends and does not go straight.
The road curves to the left and to the right.
Disgusting. If something is disgusting, it is very unpleasant.
After running all day, Greg's feet had a disgusting odor.
Drain. A drain is a pipe that carries away water from a building, such as in a kitchen.
The water in the sink goes down the drain as you wash your hands.
Embrace. To embrace is to hug.
When they saw each other again, the happy couple embraced.
Envy. To envy someone is to wish that you had something that they have.
Sally envied the happy couple.
Fireworks. Fireworks are objects that create colored lights when they are lit.
The display of fireworks was so beautiful.
Flour. Flour is a powder made from plants that is used to make foods like bread.
I wanted to bake a pie, but I needed flour.
Fuse. A fuse is a string that you light on fireworks to make them explode.
The boy lit the fuse on the rocket and waited for it to burst in the sky.
Ginger. Ginger is a spice from the root of a plant. It tastes spicy and sweet.
Ginger is a common ingredient in many dishes from India.
Jealous. If you are jealous, you think someone might take something from you.
Miriam was jealous because Sue was paying too much attention to Jim.
Paste. A paste is a thick and smooth substance.
My son needed some paste for a school project.
Receipt. A receipt is a paper that proves that something was received or bought.
After looking at my receipt, I realized that I had spent too much money.
Wipe. To wipe something is to slide a piece of cloth over it to clean it.
She wiped the dust from the windows.
Wire. A wire is a thin string made out of metal.
The wires were connected to towers that brought electricity to the city. Everyone is special. When I was young, everything that went wrong in my house seemed to be my fault. Once, My brothers tried to make cookies. They blended flour and ginger and made a disgusting paste. Then they tried to wash it down the drain, but it got all over the floor. Later, my brothers said that I did it, and I had to wipe it up. I worried that my parents liked them more than me. One autumn day, I was sure I would make my parents proud. I bought a model rocket. After I put it together, I invited everybody to watch it. I wanted my brothers to envy my technical knowledge. I lit the fuse, but nothing happened.
Looks like your fireworks don't work. I hope you kept the receipt so you can return them,
my brother said.
It's not fireworks,
I screamed. They were making fun of me again. I didn't know what went wrong. I hadn't altered anything. I quickly moved the wires on the bottom, hoping that would help. Suddenly, the rocket flew up. We stood aside as it curved through the lawn and ran straight into the mailbox. Then the mailbox collapsed. The rocket was crushed. Embarrassed, I ran inside and hid. A few minutes later, my mom asked, "Are you okay?"
I just wanted them to be jealous of me for once. Now I see why you and Dad don't love me as much as them,
I said. That's not true, said my mom. See my fingers? Each one is different. You kids are like my fingers. All are different, but I love them all the same. I embraced her. Now I know that my parents love me just as much as my brothers.
New words and examples.
Circulate. To circulate something is to spread it quickly.
The fan helped to circulate cool air through the room.
Consequent. Consequent means happening because of a different situation.
Her consequent rash came after she touched the poison ivy.
Derive. To derive something from another source means to get it from that thing.
Red's nickname was derived from the color of her hair.
Drown. To drown is to die from not being able to breathe underwater.
He would have drowned if the sailors would not have rescued him.
Dynasty. A dynasty is a series of rulers who are all from the same family.
The ancient Egyptians had a dynasty that lasted for many years.
Fraction. A fraction is a small part of something.
Only a fraction of the cake was gone.
Frost. Frost is a white layer of ice that forms during very cold weather.
In the morning, the trees were all covered with frost.
Illusion. An illusion is something that looks real but doesn't actually exist.
Some pictures create an illusion for the eyes.
Invade. To invade is to take over a place by force.
The enemy forces tried to invade our country through the air.
Lieutenant. A lieutenant is a rank in the military or police, or a person with that rank.
The lieutenant was a good leader, and his soldiers respected him.
Marine. The word marine describes something related to the sea.
A healthy ocean is full of marine animals.
Merit. The merit of something or someone is their good qualities.
The actor received an award for his merits in the movie.
Navy. A navy is the part of a country's military that fights at sea.
My country is known for our strong navy.
Polar. Polar relates to the cold places on Earth's north and south ends.
Only a few people live in the Earth's northern polar region.
Ray. A ray is a line of light that comes from a bright object.
The sun's warm rays covered the beach.
Resign. To resign means to quit a job.
After I officially resigned from work, I said goodbye to my boss.
Suicide. Suicide is the act of killing oneself.
Some people feel so sad that they think suicide is the only answer.
Tremble. To tremble is to shake as a result of cold weather.
Harry was not used to the cold, so he trembled most of the day.
Underlying. When something is underlying, it is a hidden cause of something else.
Her underlying fear of flying reduced her traveling options.
Via. To travel via something means to travel through or using something.
We arrived in the city from the airport via the train.
How did Greenland get its name? The nation of Greenland isn't very green. The sun's rays don't shine there for 3 whole months. As a result, it's covered with snow, ice, and frost. Then how was the name derived? It started with a Viking named Eric the Red. Eric had many merits. However, there was an underlying problem. He got angry easily. People were scared of him. However, he was married to the niece of a very powerful man, so everybody tried to be nice to him. One day, Eric fought with his neighbor and killed him. His consequent punishment was to leave Iceland. Many stories circulated about a land west of Iceland, but only a fraction of the people in Iceland believed them. Still, Eric wanted to find it. Eric sailed toward the land via the Atlantic Ocean. His marine knowledge was good, but the trip was hard. Some of his men drowned. Eric's lieutenant wanted to resign from his position. Others thought about committing suicide. Suddenly, Eric thought he saw something. "I don't believe it," said Eric. "It must be an illusion." But it was no trick. It was the new land. Eric trembled in the cold polar air. He saw that there was ice everywhere. He realized that the ice could keep enemies out. Not even the best navy could invade the new land. He could start a new dynasty in his name. But how could he convince people to live here? "I'll call it Greenland," he said. Eric's plan worked. Within 2 years, over 1,000 people moved to Greenland. In the end, Greenland got its name all because of a trick.
New words and examples.
Accident. An accident is an unexpected, undesirable event.
She had to go to the hospital after she was in a serious car accident.
Admiral. An admiral is someone who controls many military ships.
They won the sea battle because of the admiral's great leadership.
Arc. An arc is a curved shape.
A rainbow has the shape of an arc.
Character. Your character is your personality.
My sister's character is fun and very outgoing.
Conscience. Your conscience is your inner sense of what is right and wrong.
I recycle everything I can, so my conscience is clear.
Fiery. If something is fiery, it is burning strongly.
The fiery blaze burned all night long.
Flesh. Flesh is the skin, muscle, and fat on your body.
The zebra's flesh has black and white stripes.
Grapefruit. A grapefruit is a fruit similar to an orange, but bigger and not as sweet.
Would you like a grapefruit with your breakfast?
Hay. Hay is dry grass used to feed animals or used as a covering.
I need to buy some more hay for the horse to sleep on.
Horrified. If you are horrified, you are very shocked and feel upset.
I was horrified when I read about the old lady who was attacked.
Kerosene. Kerosene is a type of oil. It is used in some lamps and stoves.
Many people in poor countries cook on kerosene stoves.
Loop. A loop is a line made into the shape of a circle.
He made a loop with the rope and placed it over the post.
Paddle. A paddle is a piece of wood or plastic that moves a boat across water.
We need a paddle to help us move across the water.
Raft. A raft is a floating platform made from pieces of wood tied together.
The man made a raft out of bamboo and floated out to sea.
Sour. When something is sour, it has a sharp and unpleasant taste.
I don't like lemons because I think they are too sour.
Stake. A stake is a small, sharp piece of wood or metal that is put into the ground.
We marked our property by placing stakes into the ground.
Steward. A steward is a person like a waiter who serves food on planes and ships.
The steward is bringing some tea.
String. String is a thin piece of fabric or rope.
I found a large ball of string.
Thorn. A thorn is a sharp part of a plant.
Be careful of the thorns when you pick the roses.
Wreck. To wreck something means to destroy or ruin it.
The teenagers wrecked the house for no reason at all. Monkey Island. In the middle of the ocean, there is a small island shaped like an arc. Here, monkeys play on the beach and in the trees. But how did the monkeys get there? Once an English admiral was exploring Africa when he found hundreds of monkeys. The admiral's character was mean. He thought, I could sell these monkeys and become very rich. I'm going to take them to England. So the admiral set traps to catch the monkeys. He put stakes in the ground, tied string around them, and made loops in the string. When the monkeys ran through the forest, their feet got caught in the loops, and they couldn't escape. Then the admiral put the monkeys in cages on his ship and sailed away. The cages were small and uncomfortable. There was no soft hay for the monkeys to sleep on. Instead, they slept on branches with sharp thorns that cut into the monkeys' flesh. For dinner, he gave them tiny pieces of sour grapefruit to eat. The monkeys grew hungry and weak. But one day, the admiral hired a new steward. He was a kind man with a good conscience. He was horrified to see the thin monkeys in the cages. So one night, he let them out. The monkeys ran and played all over the ship. They attacked the admiral and the steward and ate their food. They completely wrecked the ship. One monkey ran into a kerosene lamp, and it fell over. The ship caught fire and began to sink. The whole crew was lost, except for the monkeys. After the accident, the monkeys jumped onto a raft. They floated away from the fiery blaze of the ship. In the morning, they saw a little island in the distance. The monkeys used a piece of wood as a paddle, and they went toward it. They found the island shaped like an arc. They felt so happy to find a new home, and they still live there today.